Room, the only way to start your day.
It is the only way to start your day, and we thank you because you have been wise enough to know this is the way to start your day, and you've started it the same. This is the Situation Room on Spice FM, on KTN, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on TikTok, on Radio Garden. We live stream the show everywhere, on all platforms, every morning from Nairobi to the world. That's the Standard Group Center along Mombasa Road. That's where we are. So the all-in-one package is what Safaricom decided. You know what? Let's just make life easier for everybody. City. So what did they do?
Well, what they did, they said that for 2,000 Kenyan shillings, something magical will happen to you. You will receive 1,000 minutes talk time.
Yes.
1. 2, you will receive 2,000 SMSs.
Yes.
You will receive 17 GB.
Yeah.
And now to top it off, to add icing to this particular cake, you will have free WhatsApp for 1 whole month.
Imagine.
For the unprincely sum of 2,000 Kenyan shillings.
Imagine.
But then you have a choice. If what your pocket permits is 500 shillings, well, you will still have those facilities, but at a lesser portion, equivalent to the 500 shillings.
That's true.
If you want to spend 1,000 shillings, the same. If you want to spend 3,000 shillings and above,
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the wisdom here is that you shall not lack when you need to call or to send a message.
No.
Or to browse.
No.
Or to go onto WhatsApp.
Yes.
You will, once you've just paid once, for the next 30 days, you are sorted.
Yes.
So dial star 544 hash. That's star 544 hash. And then you choose your package. Well, it'll bring you to another suite of menus. From there, select number 4. It says go monthly. After the number 4, go monthly, it'll bring now the all-in-one. Select the all-in-one packages. Choose the one that you want. Is it 500? Is it 1,000? Is it 2,000? Is it 3,000? Whatever suits you, whatever works for you is what you need to think about and go with. It's the same thing about convenience in life. It's a convenience, for example, of you want to buy milk. Maziwa imeisha in the middle of the night. Gas imeisha in the middle of the night. You are heading home and then you realize, oh no, I wanted to pass by this supermarket and buy 1 or 2, 3 things. It's already 10 p.m. They've closed. Naiva says, no, we are not closed. We don't close ever. We are open 24/7. You can come. You'll find us. So there are several Naiva supermarkets that are 24/7. Just look around your neighborhood and check. You'll find one. But if you are on the Eastern Bypass and in Utawala specifically, that Utawala Naivas is now 24/7. If you are in Roiro at Kamakis and you're thinking, Naivas, the Naivas at Kamakis, it's also now 24/7. Joins the other 24/7 outlets that are many to make your life easier. Much easier. Our guest for the next 1 hour to have a conversation about, the socio-economic needs that are pressing the people of Kenya is Professor Exen Iraki. He's an economist and a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. Prof, good to see you again.
Good morning, and how are you?
Very well, thank you.
I heard the price of oil has gone down.
Well, it's hivyo.
And I'm told it is because ODM experts are in the government.
See?
That's what one governor said this morning.
That's a governor who said it.
My head is spinning.
Tumeingia kwa serikali, bei ya mafuta imeshuka.
My head is spinning.
Opio and I, like that. So there's Opio here.
I didn't want to name names, but
And
you have done
the-
it on my behalf.
He's the energy minister. And the other one is at the National Treasury. So we are looking at how we balance these things and make things work.
Like a pair of scissors.
Kabisa. Scissors cut. Now they've cut the price of fuel.
That is it.
Yes. Karibu sana, Prof.
Asante sana. I've not been here for a very long time.
Yes.
The place looks very superb. Your smiles have not faded.
Yes.
And I'm sure we are going to have a good conversation.
Yes, we will.
Not just among the three of us, but with our fellow countrymen,
Very good.
wherever they are on this small planet.
Yes. And one of the first things I want to remind you, by the way, to tell you, to inform you, is you've heard of home-based care, right?
Yes.
Where you are unwell, let's say you go to hospital, you go back home and you're getting your care and treatment from home. The Aga Khan University Hospital has decided this is going to happen in Kenya. Okay? So number one, Aga Khan University Hospital has the main hospital and 53 clinics, specialty clinics. So there are 54 Aga Khans. You don't just think about one Aga Khan. There are 54 Aga Khan University hospitals.
I've been seeing the adverts.
Yeah,
and
53
when I go
of
to
them
the
being
countryside.
clinics.
Yes.
And some people think that is diluting the name of Aga Khan.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere.
How can you have just an Aga Khan here?
Yeah, so when we were small boys, we would tease each other. Pick a word Aga Khan.
Bas.
It's not going to be as comical.
Now Aga Khan is just here. Yeah. So one of the things that they said is that let's bring it closer to you. And then the second thing that they're doing is they're saying, if you come to an Aga Khan facility and you've seen a doctor, you don't have to stay admitted in the hospital. You can go back home and we will provide home-based care. We will send a doctor. You will send physiotherapists if that's what you need. We will send a pharmacist. We will send nurses if that's what you need to come and take care of you from home. So you'll get your doctor visitations, but you're being taken care of by your family members. You still have the warmth of family around you 24/7. Not ile masaa ya kuvisit ya saa
As
saba.
an economist, I'll ask whether you pay a premium.
No. They say it's not a premium. It's just a cost of healthcare.
The cost of comfort.
Yes. But also, they also can send a lab to you. So you don't have to come to Warakani to do blood tests, stool tests, kupima pressure. They actually send a mobile kit unit to you. It comes at no extra cost.
So that is bringing services closer to the people.
That's it.
Yes.
That is it.
You
But
put it well.
I'm very surprised that there is no premium to pay. Because from a psychological point of view, it makes a lot of sense to recover at home,
Yes.
surrounded by greenery,
Yep.
surrounded by grandchildren,
Yeah.
surrounded by friends.
Yeah.
Because just the incidence of just being in hospital is already scary enough. When you look at the machines that you see there, the people coming more sicker than you,
Yep.
others injured,
Yeah.
it can be very traumatizing.
And then you're alone
And
for
then you are
many,
alone.
many hours. You're
And
just
then,
lying
Some
alone.
people call you to, I wanted to see you, but I couldn't make it because of traffic jam. So I think that's a move in the right direction. But it's not just Aga Khan. I think every institution that offers services should bring services closer to the people.
Yep.
I know my students are very happy when I tell them that today we are having an online class. Because from the comfort of their rooms, they're able to get my lecture.
Very good.
And ladies tells me that the good thing about it is they don't need to have makeups.
To come to class.
Yes.
City.
Yes.
Welcome, Prof, with today's proverb.
Yes, our proverbs for this week come from the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. Okay? Friendship, we call it friendship, but without sincerity.
Friendship. We call it friendship, but without sincerity.
That sounds like a hypocrisy.
Yes. It is hypocrisy.
If you're afraid and there's no sincerity, that cannot be friendship. How old is that proverb?
It's ancient. It was coined a long time ago.
With all the artificial intelligence and all the technology and all the knowledge, how come we don't come up with new proverbs?
Well, I guess the thing about proverbs is they seem to point to a certain...
City, don't fall into this trap. Prof, what's your interpretation of this proverb? This man is diverting.
Oh, no. I understand. I understand what he was doing. But
How old is the proverb?
he knows better than anybody
It's buying
else
time.
that the reason why proverbs are the way they are is because they point to a truth that defies time and age and space.
So maybe what we think is common sense now will be wisdom and proverbs maybe 100 years from now.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm impatient.
Make it 200 years if you like.
Be
But I think
patient.
the interpretation of this proverb is very simple. That any friendship should be based on sincerity. It should not be transactional. It should not be based on I give you, you give me. So once you remove sincerity from friendship and from service delivery and from everything else, it becomes something else.
So if it's transactional, it is not friendship.
No, I give you the money, you go. When you go to a petrol station, you don't need to know the name of the petrol station attendant or the owner of that petrol station. You get your fuel and go.
You pay.
That's not how friendship is supposed to be. It's supposed to be sincerity.
It's a good one.
So
Some of the things that are said today will become words of wisdom in the future. Like, usiuze mulima.
That's not from me. There's one I heard yesterday from Gen Z.
Yes.
I don't know whether they got it from that. You don't know you're in a pyramid scheme until you are at the bottom of the pyramid. Never thought about that. So that will probably be a future proverb.
That's what it occurs to you clearly. One of our listeners watching on the YouTube live stream has got jokes. Says the Chief Justice has actually got jokes. So the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is going to court to try and stop Mulima kuguzwa.
Yes.
And he has asked the Chief Justice, please appoint a 3-judge bench so that you can hear my case that wants to stop Mulima kuguzwa. Chief Justice says, sawa sawa, I agree. I am going to appoint the following judges to hear this case. The Honorable Justice Eric Ogola, the Honorable Lady Justice Frida Mugambi, and the Honorable Justice Anthony Mulima.
Mulima Muguzu.
CJ's got jokes.
That's a real moment.
Prof, a lot's happening. So, the price of fuel has come down. Okay. We were talking about it earlier and saying, we've just been reporting that, the rates of inflation have come down. That's why even the Central Bank Monetary Committee has decided, let's start bringing down our interest rates, right? Because inflation has come down really, really much. And Citi asked me, but has the cost of living come down?
I ask you. That's the thing that is spinning my head. The reason why inflation is going down is because people have no money. If you have no money, there will be no demand for goods and services. So if I'm a supplier of goods or services, how do I attract people to come and buy whatever I'm selling? Bring down the prices. So I don't think the inflation is going down because the economy is doing very well. It is simply because people have no money.
Really?
Do you live in this country?
I do.
Yeah. And your neighbors have money?
I don't know.
That's why I'm asking you whether you live in this country.
People don't discuss money.
No.
I'm still the same way I was. I didn't have money.
Maybe that's why you don't notice that. But if you look at the way the economy has been performing the last maybe 1 year, I think the economy has not grown as fast as expected. Even the institutions, I think IMF and Central Bank are predicting a lower economic growth rate.
Yeah.
And that's a clear indicator that because the economy is not growing as fast as expected, the demand has not gone up. The demand for goods and services. And if the demand has not gone up, then the prices don't go up as expected, and we say there is less inflation. So that should be a matter of concern because the foreign inflation can be an indicator that the economy is not doing as well as expected.
Do you think that's how they look at it? Do you think there are other economies, especially in the National Treasury, or even in the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank, who actually see that as a possible reality?
I think the reason why they are very joyous about that is, you remember there was a time the central bank raised the interest rate by about almost 2-3%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they really wanted to hit on inflation. So maybe in the long run that has worked. But it's not just that the inflation, that the interest rate was so high that inflation had to come down. But there are also other fundamental issues. Like if you look at the aftermath of GZ protests, I think there were some economic consequences. And one of them was the economic slowdown. And when the economy is not doing very well, the demand for goods and services go down, and inflation is subdued.
Yeah.
So it's a multiplicity of factors. It's not just the fact that interest rate was up. Interest rate going up had an effect, but there are other factors that have affected that.
Why were the goods expensive?
Say again?
Why were the goods expensive then?
I think there's a question everybody has been asking, because when Kenya Kwanza government came to power, the price of goods kept going up.
Yeah.
And one reason was that the exchange rate was not very good.
Yeah.
So because the sharing was very weak, people compensate by raising the prices. So that was one factor. And the other factor is anytime we have a transition from one government to another, there's a lot of freedom. People won't take advantage before things settle up. So you can gauge the prices, you can raise the prices before people complain, then things start stabilizing. So, and you can check that anytime there's a transition in government, things always become a bit unstable, whether it is prices, whether it is inflation, whether it's an unemployment, things always jag up, then they stabilize.
Then they stabilize. So we are at the stabilization phase now.
I think that is that could be happening. Now we are getting stabilized. We hope that we are not going to get destabilized as we think about 2027.
There are those who say that whenever we have a new government, uncertainty also plays a role in bringing about some of these roller coaster things that we see in our economy.
That's exactly what I'm saying, because you don't know, when you get a new government, you don't know what is going to be their monetary policy, their fiscal policy, how much borrowing they are going to do, what taxes they are going to come up with, whether Mrima is going to be Guzu. There are so many things that are uncertain about a new government. And that has an effect on the economy. Because as much as people claim that the government has no business in business, the government are out of business in business. When you think of taxes, when you think about new regulations, when you think about new laws, all those affect the economy.
They do.
So with time, the government policies settle and the economy also settles.
You know, the thing that, of course, those in government would be coming out now to tell us is we promised that we are going to stabilize this economy.
Yes.
Right? We came in, the dollar was doing the sing-saw. We came in, the price of oil was just going up. We came in, the price of goods and commodities were going up. In fact, people were going onto the streets complaining that the cost of living is high. And we said, give us time. In fact, the president said, give me 12 months at least, and I'll sort these things out. So we came with these interventions. Fertilizer subsidy here on one side, and these things on the other. We even came in with the, cooking oil subsidy. Because of all these efforts, you see the results now? The results are inflation has gone down to the lowest point even before Uhuru came into office. If you look at the dollar price, the shilling has stabilized and it's doing well right now at about 130, around there. It was threatening to cross over 200. We have stabilized it. And I told you, 125 maybe. See, 130, not so bad.
I think your argument...
So trust the process.
I can tell you that some of the happiest people with the economic events taking place are politicians. And I quoted one saying that the experts from ODM actually stabilizing the price of oil. But if you look at oil, I'll start with oil. The demand for oil from China has gone down. The peak demand for oil because of summer season is over. So the demand of oil has gone down despite some tensions in the Middle East. And that is cascading to here, to this country. But you see, not many people have time to check what is happening in the oil market globally. So when politicians say it is because of our effort, we believe it. If you look at, again, the reason why inflation is going down, apart from stabilizing the economy, the rains have been very good. And two things that drive our inflation is rain, that by extension means the price of food, and oil. So if the price of oil is going down, the price of good is going down because it has been leaning, inflation will go down. And the fact that politically things are stable. But as a politician, you always take credit. So let's not just look at what...
The rain came.
Yes.
But the rain found the people of Kenya prepared.
Yes.
They had seeds.
That's
they
true.
had fertilizer.
That's true.
That's government intervention.
So the government intervention is about what you think of a typical farmer. What do you need to grow your crops? Fertilizer? What else?
Seeds.
Seed? What else?
Water.
So what comes from the government?
Seed and fertilizer.
Is that, if you look at the cost of agriculture, what percentage is seed and fertilizer? Is it 50%, 30%?
Somewhere, I don't know.
So I think those are just some of the two factors that bring up agriculture. The other factors.
Yeah.
But the problem is the other factors are not given credit because nobody gives farmers credit for digging with their herds.
Yeah.
Nobody gives farmers credit for taking care of their cattle. So politicians will focus on what gives them vote and credit. But you don't focus on what does not give you credit. So I think inflation has been brought down by a multiplicity of factors. It's both internal and external. But politicians should not take too much credit, in my opinion.
You know, the point you make is a valid one, but we know what politicians will do and what they want to do is not very difficult to figure out. Anything that makes them look good, they will jump on it. But let's look at the Kenyan economy and the reality of it. You mentioned at the beginning of the show that One of the things that is a reality in Kenya right now is people simply do not have money. And if you don't have money, it means there's no money to spend. What are the long-term effects of this reality?
Maybe even before we go to this long-term reality, since the government controls the price of oil, there's nobody who can come on air or tell us that the price of oil will not be lower if it was free market. Because the government controls the price. So the price went up by 8. Somebody might ask, why not by 9? Why not by 10? Because the government has a lot of leeway in controlling that price. So because it can control the price, it becomes a political issue, not an economic issue. So I think we need to free the market. Then we can see whether it will be lower or higher. Then we can say the government is working on price. But now we cannot control. We have no basis. Because if we had one country where the prices were open, there was no control, another one where they are controlled, we can compare and contrast. But for Kenya, we don't have that for now. So this reality you are talking about, when the economy is subdued, when the economy is not growing, everybody suffers, because if there is no demand for goods and services for your business, you close. If there is no rising demand for goods and services, then there are no jobs. So I am very concerned when the economy is subdued the way it is, because there are long-term consequences. We get jobs because the economy is growing. And the economy grows because there is demand for goods and services, either internally or externally. So we need to think, how do we rejuvenate our economy so that there's money here? There's money in the economy, either coming from internally or externally. And that's why I've always talked about thinking about the external market. If you look at Korea, it's about 50 million people, the same population as Kenya. But they have a global market for their cars, for electronics, same with Japan. So can we think about how to build external markets so that the demand for our goods, the demand for our services, the economy is going to rejuvenate?
The issue around the economy, and not just a slowing down of the economy, but the stagnation of it. As you spoke, the thing that came to mind is KRA, because we're discussing KRA this morning. It also means, therefore, that KRA will collect less money.
That's true.
So it means the government will have less to spend.
That's true.
So if the government budgets the way it budgets, it means they will tell us that they need to borrow more.
They're already doing that.
To meet the deficit.
That's true.
Now my question, what is it that stops the government from actually spending just what we collect? It's something that Eric and I have discussed at length, and we can't arrive at an answer. Now that you're here, we'd like you to jump in and help us understand this.
I think that we have had that debate for the last several years. Yes. Why don't you live with the means? Yes. With your means. The two of you, when you're at home, if you have no money, you probably cut down on certain things. And the government should do the same. If they don't have enough money, they should cut down certain services and certain projects. But here comes the problem. And this is where you need to put yourself in the shoes of the government. If you cut down expenditure on projects, your voters will be unhappy. Remember, you are voted in because you made certain promises. I'll build roads, I'll build hospitals, I'll build airports, and so on. So if you don't build this one, you lose political mileage. So as a politician, you should always ask yourself, which side of the bread is buttered? Now look at the other way to reduce cost. And one of the, I think, senior advisors to the president talked about that one time. The easiest way to reduce government expenditure is to bring down the bloated so-called employment. So
the government payroll.
Yes, that's a better way to put it. Now, if you started reducing government payroll, can you imagine about the political consequences of that? You hear people saying watu wetu wanamalizwa.
For sure.
Usinguza watu wetu. So as a politician, you always have the next election in mind. You don't want people to start rising up against you saying that you are sacking people. And by the way, can you imagine sacking people when there is such a high level of unemployment? Because when there is such a high level of unemployment, every job matters.
Yeah, it is true.
So you need to be a very bold politician to make bold decisions now, so that in the future you can be telling people, I told you. But our voters are patient.
If you don't make that bold decision now, the situation that we describe will be exacerbated, it will get worse.
That is my worry.
So if it gets worse, the position that the politician dreads will be worse. So which is better? To deal with it now, or to wait when it gets to the point where it's untenable, where you actually really have no choice, because now you have a choice.
You kick the can down the road.
And I can assure you, if you remember how Gen Z protests were, it points how things can become bad if they are not managed. So if I were in the shoes of politicians, I would make a bold decision. Even if I'm not elected in 2027, future generation will pay tribute to my bold decisions. But not many politicians think beyond 5 years.
No, they don't.
You think about the 2027, then after that, things will sort themselves out.
Yeah. Let's take a break, City. It's 28 minutes to 8. Our guest this morning is Professor Axel Iraqi from the University of Nairobi. He's an economist. We are looking at politics versus the very many other challenges that Kenyans are facing economically and what that means. Give it here. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.